All right, okay, good evening. We'll get started for today's session over here. Yeah, so as usual, what we're gonna do is very quickly walk you through what we're gonna cover, right? So this is something that we're doing almost every other week, so it's a regular Monday session over here. Quick disclaimer, of course, whatever opportunities and whatever analysis that we're sharing, it's purely for educational purposes. And if you are trading and you're taking trades from the market, just make sure that you're aware of the risks involved. Okay. So what are we gonna do in our Monday session is we'll quickly summarize what has happened for the previous week, and then we'll look into this week's event calendar. Okay, what are some of the economic events that you want to take note of? And then from there, we'll go into the technical portion, which is looking at the charts. What are some of the opportunities that we can keep an eye on? And then lastly, we're gonna end off with a 10 minutes Q&A. Okay, and see if you guys have any questions. Just put it into the chat box, and I'll be able to answer them on that, right? And lastly, we'll just close off the session, updating you some of the events that we're gonna have together with Zenfinix for the month. Okay. Good. So with that, let's go into the calendar over here. Last week was relatively overall quite quiet in a way. The market didn't move a lot. Okay. There are some events that happened. We did see the Bank of Canadian rate statement coming in. Market did expect it to hike it to 4%, but the actual only came in at 3.75. This is not the first bank that kind of disappoint the expectation, right? Previously, another bank didn't really hit what the market has expected to. Perhaps this is something that might happen moving forward because the market is very aggressively pricing in a rate hikes, right? Or I would say a huge hike from all these banks over here, but the banks are actually taking another perspective where they feel that there's no need to hike it overly too aggressive. Okay. ECB did hike it as well, from 1.25 jump to 2%, but the euro dollar in particular didn't really move to the upside a lot. Okay. In fact, we actually see the euro dollar actually start coming down, and this is one of the opportunities that I'm also eyeing this week. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit more into it when we jump into the technical charts. Okay, and of course, we have Bank of Japan, but again, nothing much ongoing. Most of the yen pairs are essentially still in a range bound environment, and we wouldn't want to really touch it. Okay. One thing that sent the dollar a little bit on the strong side last Friday was because also on the core PCE price index. Last week it came in 0.5, which is quite positive in a way where this is one of the data that the Fed is looking at as a key inflationary indicator. So 0.5 means that inflationary pressure is definitely still there, and the market is pricing in, okay, the Fed is going to continue to hike it more aggressively to look for ways to bring inflation down, right? And that's where the dollar kind of strengthened as of late last week as well, okay? And we're seeing a little bit of strength in the dollar as of today as well. Okay, so that's a quick summary. Some major events that happened last week, and then going into this week, we do have a couple that is important as well. We do have the cash rate from RBA coming in tomorrow morning. Okay, so market is again pricing in a hike of 0.25%. Likely that's gonna happen. Okay, but I think right now we know that, okay, or I would say you also would know that a rate hike does not necessarily mean that the Aussie is gonna strengthen immediately. Yeah. Okay, so have that in mind. And then on Thursday, okay, it's where we have the FOMC and the Fed funds rate. And you can see over here, the market is basically expecting the Fed to hike it by another 0.75%, okay, bringing it from 3.25 to 4%. Okay, so this is going to be crucial because if the FOMC or the Fed funds rate actual data comes in is 3.75, we might see a little bit of disappointment in the dollar, and we might see maybe a short-term volatility of weakness, maybe some partial profit taking off the buying of dollar, or even some traders might look to sell it. Okay, if the Fed funds rate kind of disappoint the market expectation, yeah. And this is something you need to also be aware that it might happen because we're already starting to see some banks not hiking as aggressively. Perhaps the Fed might start to slow down the pace of hiking, right? It doesn't mean that they're not increasing, it's just maybe they're not increasing as aggressive, right? So that's something to take note of. And then of course we also have the Bank of England, okay, coming in on Thursday as well. You can see another expectation of hiking by 0.75, and to end off the week, we have the NFP and of course average hourly earnings. Again, I don't think that is gonna be moving the market a lot. Okay. So overall, I think this week here, three major central banks information: RBA, FOMC, and then of course BOE, right? Bank of England. Good. Okay, so there's gonna be some kind of I would say volatility coming in because of all this event. Okay, but also at the same time, you want to take note, like if we have an FOMC on Thursday, the market are generally gonna be quiet from now until then, right? So that's how it's gonna be. Okay, so take note of all this. Let's jump into the technical portion. Okay, by looking at the dollar index first. Okay. So over here, as we mentioned just now, okay, late last week, the dollar did see a little bit of a strength. As of today, it's following through in terms of the dollar momentum. So looking at it as of now, okay, we are potentially looking at this being completed as a WXY, right? So if that's the case, then this can essentially still go higher and retouch the previous high around 114.75. Okay, now I'm still maintaining an overall pretty neutral perspective for now because the technical charts right now we're seeing a V shape. Okay, if we can see a consolidation or a tiny bit of correction here moving forward, going into Thursday FOMC, then from a technical point of view, we can expect more upside, right? And then my directional bias would then shift towards being bullish, and then we'll look for a potential breakout trade perhaps on the dollar. Okay, but given I want to see at least a consolidation here first, right? If you don't see a consolidation, then there is really no setup on that. Okay, so that's on the dollar index for the week. Overall slightly bullish, but would like to see a bit of a correction to give us that sign of confirmation. Okay, there's a high probability the market can continue higher. Okay. Translate that to the euro. We do have a potential setup coming in on euro dollar as well. Very nice three wave that potentially have completed with this very nice rejection of the 1.0090. So moving forward, I'm definitely holding on to a bearish bias on the euro as long as price maintains below 1.0090. Okay, and what I like to see on euro dollar over here is at least on a 1 hour time frame, I'd like to see a decent pullback. Okay, it might not come back towards this fit level, but I think more importantly is we want to at least see a pullback that develops a corrective portion. Likely if you combine that with the FOMC coming in, if we have a correction like that, then we can look for a sell trade in line with the release of the FOMC. Okay? And potentially if the dollar strengthen from there, then that will be a very, very decent trade combining technical and the news and the fundamental aspect of things. Okay, for now this is definitely not a sell because this one here seems a little bit more of a crawl pattern. If you bring in a oscillator like RSI, okay, we're likely gonna see a divergence build up. Okay, and for that reason, I wouldn't want to be selling it at this moment, right? I mean, you can take a look at that. We do have this divergence building, right? So when kind of see something like that, I wouldn't want to be overly aggressive and sell it at this moment, but I want to wait for at least a decent pullback. Then that would give me that sell opportunity. Okay, so bias here on euro dollar is definitely downside. Okay, but I want to wait for a setup to come to me before I take that trade. But having said that, if let's say you have your own strategy and you get a signal to sell it according to your technique and your method, by all means, right? I think overall the euro dollar here has a good opportunity to come back and retest the 0.9550 area. Okay, that's one. Definitely you want to keep an eye on that. The pound dollar here might present a buy setup, right? A little bit counterintuitive. Where the euro dollar we're looking to sell, but the pound dollar we're looking to buy. But I always say this, right? When you're looking at the chart, when you're analyzing it, you just analyze them independently, right? Look at what the chart is telling you and then trade off the chart as it is. So pound dollar as of now is telling me a little bit more on the upside. Okay, from a technical point of view, Elliott Wave, we have a 1, 2, 3, and then within this we have a 1, 2, 3. So we do expect a bit of a pullback. From there, if this is going to be corrective in nature, we do expect this to bounce higher here as well to complete our 1, 2, and then the third wave up. Okay, we do have a little bit of a confluence here and there as well. Okay, we have the trend line. You can see, right, the market is basically still being supported above this trend line. We do have that 50% and 61.8 Fibonacci around the trend line as a support too. So right now I'm really monitoring number one, how the market is going to pull back, and do we see kind of a reaction around that 50 and 618. If we do, then that's where the buy setup can come in, okay, with of course the stops below 1.0920, and our potential target here is around 1.2065, right? So something that's quite decent, right, depending on how we're going to structure that. It's probably going to give you about 1.6 R, or of course depending on your strategy, how aggressive you are in putting your stops, you can even stretch that risk reward ratio to about 2.5. Okay, so yeah, keep an eye on the pound. That's definitely something that you want to look out for. Okay, some of the other majors over here, not really very obvious in terms of opportunity. We're keeping an eye on them, but as of today, nothing that really stands out on all these majors. Yeah, so I'm just gonna skip through them. Dollar yen, okay, nothing much as what I mentioned. Is still in the range simply because we have a lot of V shapes developing. Okay, you can see this as a potential double bottom, and you expect this to continue up. But I'm not really in favor of like focusing too much on dollar yen as of now. Okay, in fact, most of the yen, I'll probably advise just to give it more time to develop into something clearer first before we establish the direction to focus. Okay, jumping through to the crosses, I think other than the euro dollar where we can look for the sell, euro cat is presenting a pretty decent opportunity. Okay, we are seeing something like this. If I were to bring in the RSI, we have the divergence as well. Okay, so it's a very nice little what we call a crawl pattern that is setting up as we're speaking. Okay, so the invalidation point is somewhere around 3700. Okay, and of course depending on your strategy, a low here can be a potential breakout entry around 3495. Okay, and if that happens, then your primary first target is gonna be somewhere around 3290. Yeah. Okay, so something like that. Definitely focusing on the sell. Okay, in terms of the direction over here. On the daily scale, just be aware that even if we're selling this, potentially this can still turn into, you know, not a very decent, but you know, what we call an inverse head and shoulder for upside. So hey, I would say at least if you are able to reach, if price is able to reach somewhere around 3290, then just take partial profits and manage your trade along the way. Because this one here, it might be just the first wave up correction, and then the next wave to the upside might continue. Okay, so we of course need more information as the market continue to develop, but for now, at least what we're seeing here is there's this short-term opportunity where you can take this trade to the downside. Okay, obviously depending on how aggressive you are, you can even put your stop here. That would kind of give you a much nicer risk reward ratio, right? So take a look at that. It's about 1.8. Okay, but to be conservative, you know, you want your stops to be above there. Maybe that just gives you about 1:1. Okay, so again, all these little details really boils back down to like, what is your strategy? Okay, you need to be clear on your plan, what you set up to get involved in the trade. Okay, but for now, what I'm doing over here is to share with you some decent opportunities and the direction to focus on, right? Because that's the high probability side. Okay, so Euro CAD is definitely one of it. I do see here, you know, let me see. We have questions coming in like Kiwi dollar, and then one of you is also asking. I see here Richmond is asking about pound New Zealand. Okay, going to form a valid head and shoulder, right? Yeah. So this is actually something that I think I didn't mention like last week. Okay, so basically not much of a movement as of last week, and going into this week here, everything is still intact. Okay, again, depending on how your strategy is, how you're gonna trade it. Some traders, okay, would trade the right shoulder with the retracement, maybe using that 618. Okay, so you can do something like that. You can put in a channel here as well, which, you know, we might expect maybe this to go above the 618, you know, even towards 786. But as long as the market can kind of maintain below the head, this pattern is still going to be valid. And what you can look out for is a sell trade to the downside, right? And you expect it to break that neckline, and then you project it, okay, 1-to-1 from the head to the neckline, you project it down. Alternatively, what you can look out for is a breakout, right? So you have this trend line over here. You can actually put in maybe a more aggressive breakout to enter a trade. Okay, the conventional way of trading the head and shoulder pattern is wait for this neckline to be broken, which is this, right? So again, there's no right or wrong. It really boils back down, as I always say, your style, your personality, your trading plan, and the approach, the setup that you want to see. All right, so still valid. Definitely one of the trade that I don't trade head and shoulder, okay, but it's definitely one of a valid setup here to look for the sell side. Okay, so keep an eye on it. Okay, other than that, we have gold. Okay, so gold over here is a little bit interesting because we did see the break of this crawl, which is very decent and nice. We have this little double bottom as well, but the retracement seems to be coming back quite strong. Okay, so for now, I'm suggesting to maintain a rather neutral bias on gold, but carrying a slightly bullish perspective, right? So what it means is that if you're more aggressive in nature, okay, still look for buy as long as the market maintains above 1617. There's a still good opportunity this will continue to the upside. If you're more conservative, then of course wait for more confirmation, right? That's what it means. If you go down to the 1 hour chart, we might see a setup maybe going into Wednesday if you give it a little bit more time. Right now, what we have here is this is building up. Okay, the divergence is building up. So what can happen from an Elliott Wave perspective here? This can potentially turn into a ABC. And this is one of a pattern that is valid in terms of Elliott Wave, is an expanding flat. Okay. Obviously it's not like 100% means that it's gonna reject and continue to the upside, but it's definitely looking like an expanding, right? So expanding flat, usually the minimum is 123.6, which is where we are right now, and it can even extend all the way to 1618. Okay, so we're basically looking at this zone, okay, for the expanding flat to complete. Of course, if you're aggressive, you can just look for buy right now. If you're a little bit more conservative, you can even consider a breakout entry. Okay, somewhere around that. So that will put you around 1645, or if you're more, 1646, give it a little bit of room. Okay, so something like this would be a decent setup for gold. Okay, your stop, naturally, if you're very conservative, just put it below 1617, because if the market breaks below 1617, then you do not want to be in a buy anymore, right? You want to look out for another opportunity, see how the market develops by then. But for now, we are holding a little bit of a slightly bullish perspective, right? We do have that divergence with this potential expanding flat setup. Okay, we have that Phipps ratio over there. So kind of a bit of alignment and confluences. Okay, so gold here, definitely you want to keep an eye on. Okay, last one here on the okay, not last one, because I want to talk about Ethereum as well. But S&P over here, I kind of expect a bit of reaction right now. Okay, we're kind of very nice little bullish channel. The market is still respecting that. So as of now, we are being very neutral, because if you want to sell, okay, then we want to wait for a break below this trend line, a consolidation, then we can look for more downside. If you want to buy, okay, at least wait for a decent pullback, perhaps towards the bottom of the channel, then you look for another push up. So in either case, right now, we just wait. Okay, so that's my view on the S&P. Okay, so for this week, it's a little bit difficult to say where it's likely gonna go, because we're still neutral as of now. Okay, so we need to see how the market develops going into tomorrow and Wednesday. Okay, yeah, so nothing much on that. I want to talk about Ethereum over here, because it's doing a very decent 5-wave development as of now. Last couple of weeks back, we talked about how you want to look for buy in Ethereum because of this pattern here. And then we of course talk about this as a 5th wave. If you're holding and riding on to this, perfect, right? I do have a position on Ethereum. And right now we're seeing a very nice little 5-wave development, which we have a nice rejection of this. The market kind of break off our wave 3. So we are expecting this to continue higher towards wave 5. Okay. The target of wave 5 here as of now, okay, is somewhere around 1740. And based on this 5-wave structure, okay, we want to have the market to maintain above this high. This low. Okay, and that will put us around 1479. Okay, so as long as the market is above 1475, we are gonna expect this 5th wave to be developing. Okay. Overall, in terms of Ethereum, if you are not in that trade yet, then I think there's no need to rush in, because if this were to complete a wave 5, we would then expect a bigger consolidation. Okay, and then from there we can take this back up. Okay, so overall, I think Ethereum is definitely holding on to a bullish bias. Okay, so keep an eye on that, right? For those of you who are into crypto, a Bitcoin here, not the best yet. Okay, there are still a couple of possibilities it can eventually turn into. We do have this here, but this can still come back down. And then at the same time, we can still see this as a consolidation, and then this can still go back up, retest that top. So not the clearest, right? But Ethereum is quite clear. Okay, so that's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum as of now. Okay. Good. So I'm seeing some question. Let me take a look at them and answer them as we progress. Okay. Okay, first one here I see about is Euro Yen. Okay, um, Euro Yen, not the clearest. I mean, we can potentially squeeze in a possibility where this starts to turn into a crawl. But I feel that it's too early right now, okay? Because if let's say this were to really turn into a crawl, it's probably gonna take the entire of this week, and the setup might only come to us maybe the next week, right? So there's no need to rush through, and therefore, I think euro nothing much, okay? Um, Kiwi dollar over here, I see. Yeah, I would be cautious with the Kiwi dollar sell though. It's not really a best looking crawl. Okay. Yes, it does have this correction kind of consolidation feel. But this move here seems to be a little bit slow. So what can potentially turn out to be is this can still come back down in a corrective manner, and then this can still go back. Okay. So maybe if you're looking for a sell, just be careful that this pattern here can develop, right? And if that's the case, you want to manage your trade and maybe get out earlier. Good. Um, so I see one of you is asking on Euro franc. Um, Euro franc. Okay, last week we did cover on this potential breakout trade. Market didn't really break out and it just keep moving higher. Let's refresh and see how it looks right now. Okay, on the daily on Euro franc, it looks a little bit of a V shape. Okay, so you want to be careful. Of course, this can still pull back, but if this comes down in a very corrective nature, then it's more upside. Okay, so if you go down to the 4-hour chart, this has a feel of like what I talked about in Kiwi dollar just now, right? So you do have this little crawl here, but this doesn't really come down very impulsive. So this can come down in a three-wave corrective nature, and this can still go continue upside, right? So it's not something I would want to pay too much attention to, okay? Because it's not like the clearest. There's still quite a bit of different possibility it might turn out, and only time will tell, right? So as of today, I don't have that sufficient data point to tell me like what pattern can it likely turn into. I need to give it more time. Likely maybe give it another 2 to 3 days. Maybe by Wednesday or even Thursday, it might be clearer. But as of today's session over here, this is not clear. Okay, yeah. One of you is asking on Euro Pound and Odd Cat. Euro Pound over here. You want to okay. So I think last week we did cover on the potential sell. Okay. It's running in quite a small profit as of now. If you're in any of those trades, then you want to definitely manage it. Okay, so again, management of trade is very important. We are kind of testing this low as of now, and what can happen is that market can then be supported here, and this can bounce back and retest this top. Okay, so if you have any sell, obviously you can shift your stops, break even, or if you're happy with it, just take whatever profits out of that trade. Last I think last week or last 2 weeks ago, when we talk about this, is definitely a short-term sell, right? Because this doesn't come down very, very impulsive. Okay, so for Euro Pound, just be careful and keep an eye on how the market's gonna react here. We are already testing that support areas, right? The key levels. Yeah, so if this were to be able to break through and do a consolidation below, then obviously this opens up more downside. Okay. But if let's say from here onwards this starts to bounce a bit, that's a consolidation here, then obviously this has a high probability of going higher. Okay, so you need to observe, right, how the market is going to develop from here. Okay. Aussie Canadian, not something that I would really pay too much attention into. Okay, scrolling a little bit. Um, Give it some time. I'll restart my charts. Okay. Okay, Aussie Canadian. Good. So Aussie Canadian as of now. Okay, on the 4-hour chart, right? Because we are seeing this rejection, this V shape here. Okay, so short term, I'm gonna maintain a bearish bias, and if you are able to kind of get a, okay, so this is the invalidation level. If you can get a little nice pullback, you know, towards that 50 and 618 fit in a very corrective nature, okay, then you might get a short-term sell trade back down. Potential target, obviously, you can look for the previous low, okay, something like that. Other than that, we don't really have much of a confluencing factors, right? Mainly it's just an impulse. If you kind of see a correction, okay, then that's your potential sell for Aussie CAD, right? So that's the primary view that I have right now. Okay. Okay, I see one of you is asking about CAD franc. Now CAD franc, this is actually a setup that we mentioned some time back. It's running pretty decent, but again, it's slow. The market generally for the last week has been not really moving a lot, right? So for now, you know, if you're actually taking this trade, I don't know, on a sell or a buy, I mean, right now, obviously, it's not the best time to be entering this trade, right? If you have a buy trade, you can see just now we talk about management. Okay, you naturally just want to trail it, protect whatever profits you have. We were expecting this to go as a 1. This is a triangle, and then we expect this to go fast, right? This part here to go fast. It's not really doing that. It's going up slow. And if you go down to the 1-hour chart, you can see this is developing a crawl. Okay, and of course we have the divergence naturally. Okay, so right now, the buy is not really looking very good because we are facing with this kind of rejection at the top. If you're looking for a sell, there is that potential setup with this crawl pattern here. Okay, you can naturally consider a breakout. Okay, and then of course your stop would be just above that high. Okay, something like that. And then this point here is somewhere around 315. Yeah. Okay, so you can look out for that. For a short-term play, okay, don't be overly aggressive on your target. Daily, really nothing much, right? I mean, I think that's the only setup I can see that is clear, which is gonna be on a 1-hour chart. Okay, for a potential downside. Okay. Yeah, so that's on dollar. That's on the CAD franc. Good. Yeah. So to quickly sum up a little bit, what we have over here is in terms of the majors. Okay, we have the euro and the pound, right? Euro dollar and the pound dollar. There's two potential setup. The euro is still falling. Okay, so it really depends on how it's going to develop, but the direction is quite clear. Euro CAD naturally. Okay, look for that sell opportunity. Pound New Zealand here, we're also looking for a sell opportunity. Okay, and then we have gold here for potential buy short term. Okay, and then for Ethereum, okay, we're still expecting one more move to the upside for wave 5, right? So if you kind of look at maybe on a smaller scale, you can look for this as a 1-hour pullback. Okay, if it's gonna come back in a very corrective nature, that is your potential buy on Ethereum. Okay, so there are a couple of opportunities as of now, right? Monday, start of the week. Some of this are quite clear. Some of those, as I mentioned, will probably need to give you a little bit more time, like Tuesday, Wednesday. Then when the pattern develops, we're getting clear on that, we can trade them. Okay, so hopefully that's clear and that's helpful for you guys so far. Okay. So with that, very quickly, let me share with you some of the upcoming events and promotions that we have together with Zenfinix over here. Okay, so upcoming events first. We have this on a regular Monday session, right? So next Monday we have this as well. Again, if this is something that you enjoy, okay, and you kind of able to extract value out of it, and giving you that overview of the week and some opportunities to keep an eye on, feel free to also invite your friends to join in. Okay. And if you're based in KL, right, we do have some upcoming physical events, but just want to highlight that these dates are tentative for now. We're still confirming it. Um, First one here we are planning is on the 9th of November. It's a weekday, so that's gonna be a week. It's an evening event. Okay. 19th October as well. But we're still keeping this in view because if you're based in Malaysia, that's actually the date for election. So probably there's a very high chance we're gonna change it. Okay. But so far we plan that, just to let you know, we have two events, potentially physical events in KL. Okay. And if you like to keep yourself updated, right, whether is it going to be an online webinar, or offline physical event, if you're based in Malaysia, do join the official Zenfinix Telegram channel where you can get regular updates of events and promotions by them, right? Okay, so what you can do is you can scan this QR code on the screen, and then it will directly bring you to the Telegram channel, and then you can click join, and then you'll be inside the channel, right? So in the future, if there's any updates of like webinars, physical events, any promotions that they have, you'll be notified. Okay. Or if let's say you're in Zoom, you can actually, later the team will probably drop a link, and then you can click on the link to join the Telegram as well. Okay. On top of that, we do have the Trading Dose Telegram channel as well. Okay, so this one here is every day I would post one chart for the day, okay, to kind of share with you, like, okay, that's the analysis of, let's say, euro dollar, right? So every day I'll pick one instrument and post it in terms of the analysis of it in this Telegram channel. Okay, we call it the Zenfinix Daily Trading Dose Telegram channel. Again, if you would like to join into this, just reach out to Zenfinix team, and then they will invite you to join into the Telegram of this, right? So again, if you are joining us right now in Zoom, the team will actually post it into the chat box. Then you can click on the link to actually reach out to them via WhatsApp. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, okay, just go to the description box. You can find a link that I've included to bring you to Zenfinix official WhatsApp as well, right? So that's the support team. Any questions you have regards to Zenfinix, you can actually WhatsApp them as well. Okay, so that's the two part of it. And then very quickly also to share with you a promotion that we have right now is the 4 Trading Pillars Masterclass, where you can actually get this course for free. Okay, and this course here is designed to focus on currency trading. So if you're fairly new to currency market, FX market, and you would like to equip yourself with a holistic education and training, this is definitely for you, right? So within this course here, we kind of break it down into 7 days content, where each day we cover a very specific niche of a topic, okay, ranging from fundamental, technical, sentiment, to risk management, and then of course crafting your trading plan and putting everything together. Okay, this is online, and it's an on-demand course, which means once you get access to it, you can go through the lessons with your own pace and your own convenience, right? And if you want to replay any of those, you can do it. Okay. So if you actually go to my website, you want to get it, we are pricing it at 97 US dollar. But for today, together with Zenfinix, you can actually get it for free. Okay, and how to do that is you just need to register and get your trading account verified. Make a small deposit of $500 and you'll be able to get this for free. Okay, it's just that simple, yeah. And this $500 is your money, so you can actually use it to trade the market as you learn and you practice, right? So this is something that is really put together together with Zen for next year to help you in your journey of trading as well. Okay, so again, if you'd like to find out and understand a little bit more about this, how you can get it, feel free to reach out to the team, right? As I mentioned, if you're in Zoom, I'll just get the support to quickly drop the link in the chat box so that you can click on the link and then reach out to them on WhatsApp. And of course, as I mentioned, if you're on YouTube, okay, just go down to the description, you can find the WhatsApp link. Good. Okay, so that's all from me for today's session over here. I hope the analysis is able to give you some insights and some preparation for the week. All the best to your trading as well. Okay, and gentle reminder, of course, to always manage your risks. And with that, we'll end off today's session here and see you guys in the next one. Yeah, bye.